Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and
Will.
Yeah, so Red Dead Redemption 2. We've all been playing it.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, sounds rubbish.
Yeah, well, you know, some people might agree. It got like overwhelmingly good reviews, but I feel like it's kind of sunk in a bit now that people have actually had time to play with it. I'd say the overall reception has been a little more reserved. Now people have actually had some time with it.
Really?
But yeah, I think so. Yeah, just some of the podcasts I've been listening to and some of the editorials I've read and stuff. The reception isn't like overwhelmingly glowing like the review scores were.
I would say
anyway,
in general, I mean, critically it's absolutely a hit. But I'll be talking about my reasons why, the issues I have. I think are we going to go down the good, the bad, and the ugly? Start.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah,
Spoiled it.
I feel like that's. It was your idea, to be fair, Will. So yeah, yeah. No, I feel like that's a fairly balanced way to structure it, really. So yeah, do you guys? Who wants to start then? Ian, what do you?
Okay.
What do you think's so good about Red Dead Redemption 2 then?
The visuals are breathtaking, I'm finding.
Yeah, there's times where I've been playing it and thinking like, wow, that just looks completely real.
Now I have a quick question for you. You guys, are you both on the PS4 Pro?
No.
I'm on the PS4 Pro.
So Rob, you're on the Pro. Ian, you're on the PS4...
On the puny version.
Yeah, the PS4 Amateur, I believe, as it should now be known.
Beginner edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first console. Yeah.
Yeah, my PS4 Amateur virtually day one edition now basically does helicopter impressions. I can only play with headphones on.
Okay.
And games
wow.
like Red Dead do not help.
No. I can imagine.
It's worth saying, even though I am playing the game in shiny 4K mode on a nice big telly, apparently there's some issues with the HDR implementation. Apparently there just isn't any, which is weird because when I first got the game, it kind of recommended like the gamma setting and everything for that. So I feel like maybe it was a last minute addition in the grand scheme of things, and too much of the game was probably done.
I think what you're getting is a more stable frame rate in exchange over the high res visuals, and I think the visuals are beautiful as they are anyway. It's one of the definite strengths of the game, so I would go for steady frame rate. Although I've not had any noticeable slowdown whatsoever on my PS4 Amateur.
And me neither.
Mine has been mostly okay. I've found it stuttering a little, but I feel like that's probably because it's running at 4K. But yeah, generally it looks great, as I suspected from like the footage of the game I'd seen like prior to launch. It's absolutely spectacular, no doubt about it. The environments in particular are very striking, and the sky rendering when there's a storm and stuff just looks amazing.
Yeah,
I must admit, I went for a little horse ride. Literally, just followed the rail tracks like right up around the northern part, and I was following this railway and you could see where it had been carved into the mountainside and the valleys going through. You see all like the signs of engineering, which was so cool. And then you come to this little break, and there's these wild flowers growing, and you see through the canyons. And I really did think, wow, if I was the sort of wanker that did these things, I'd probably take a screenshot right now.
Yes. If only there was some way to share with your friends how much of a wanker we all are with screenshots.
Guilty as charged. Go on.
The other thing, it's a Rockstar game, and they are known for a number of things, visuals being one, and the other one that I'm really enjoying is feeling like the world exists without me being there.
Yeah.
There are a few games that have done that. The Witcher kind of did that a bit, and other games have done it, but I definitely feel like if I rode away from a town and looked back, everybody would just carry on with their shit, and it's like I'd never been there.
I know what you mean, eavesdropping on conversations that don't feel they're there for you to find, that almost just feel natural.
Yeah. And that GTA 4 did that exceptionally well, and 5 did it as well. And this feels like that kind of quality world building, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, they do that like with a lot of the way that some of the like little side missions work. It feels incredibly organic. There was one moment when I last played it, when I got into town and I just dropped off a bounty, and I thought I'll just have a stroll up to the saloon because it's getting dark now. Can't be asked to ride back to camp. And I'm just about to go into the main doors.
Sorry,
and,
just very quickly. Can't be asked to ride back to camp is responsible for so many fucking things, because that is such a ball ache. But we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
So, this girl just goes, "Oh, mister, please, can you help me?" And she's got like her... she takes me up to the room and she's like murdered her client. And asks me if I can dispose of the body. Tells me there's a pigsty out round the back.
Yes.
So,
yes, I've been told of this.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that's happened to either of you.
No, but I've heard rumours about the pig farm just outside Saint Denis.
And I will be going to all available saloons later to try and get this experience.
Just a quick thing about the visuals.
This isn't the David Cameron experience, is it?
No, that's a different mission, my friend.
Okay,
different mission.
Yeah. The visuals definitely, like the fidelity of the characters isn't quite as up there as some of the PlayStation exclusives I've played this year.
But I don't notice that. What I would say is, because we're talking about the immersion here, visually maybe not, but the voice acting. There's not been a single line I have heard that didn't just feel natural and well done. I had a little bit of time with the accents right at the start, just thinking, he just doesn't sound like a cowboy, it just sounds weird. But then it kind of fits in, and then it's every bit of interaction just feels real. It's so beautifully acted.
Yeah, and just simply the fact that you can interact with every single character, like you can just say hello or call them over or threaten them or what's it called, like antagonize them or rob them. That just having that sort of set of abilities and interactions with every single character.
Oh, you're forgetting the other option, Rob, which is accidentally shoot them because of the stupid fucking controls.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. So the... I just love that sort of granularity. And also sometimes, like, it's completely in context. I went to one place and some guy was dicking around with his gun and nearly shot his toe off. And his mate just goes, "Oh, you're ridiculous," and comes walking towards me. And naturally, I just went and it said "greet," and like the line of dialogue wasn't like "howdy, partner" or whatever. It was completely like, it was a remark about what I'd just witnessed, and that interaction there.
Actually,
and that's just completely organic.
To be honest, greet should just be relabeled something like friendly, because it's a friendly, constructive response or a combative. So you've got greet.
Yeah.
So you've got greet, which is really say a nice thing and be helpful, or you've got the other option. But it's basically be nice or antagonise. There are always your two options. But what he says, you have no idea what he's going to say. But as you say, it's always appropriate.
Yeah, it's passive. It's non-violent. It's the one I normally go for because I'm a nice cowboy. I just wanted to ask, how far along are we? Because I'm only in, I think I've done about 10, 12 hours. I'm like chapter 2 still.
I'm at 4, probably about 40 hours in.
Wow. Okay.
Jesus. Yeah. I'm only on, I've just started chapter 3, I think.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I know, like, I've been talking to Matt, who was once on this podcast a long time ago, and he's kind of right into it. Sounds like probably where you are, Will, where you're doing a lot of the train robberies and stuff, because I haven't done any of that yet. I've just been like monging about and just enjoying the world.
Well, can I give some advice on train robberies? Before you rob it, check and see if there's any passengers. Right, any passenger carriages. Because when you try and rob a goods train and all you can get is grill cream.
Yeah, I did that the other night, actually.
Some packets of pomade and a $500 bounty.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, check your trains.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not ideal.
Yeah. So I've kind of worked up a bit of a bounty in places, and I tell you what, a lot of people have said this, but yeah, it's a game that expects a lot of time from you. You know, some people have said it doesn't respect your time. I don't agree with that, because I feel like it's just a different kind of experience, because they really want you to sort of like live in this world they've created. It's not just like...
I think basically different people are different. When you've got time on your hands, it's an absolute pleasure. when your gaming time is limited and you want the gratification, that this game doesn't serve up on that side. So it's all about balance. People are very much used to instant kicks.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I mean, coming from playing Spider-Man, like, it was definitely an adjustment I had to go through. Like, I've gone from like zipping around in seconds from one side of the street to another to trudging through knee-high snow and, you know, everything taking forever. But I think this game takes pleasure in those sort of minor interactions, just like the kind of all the animations there are for each gun that you reload, and the fact that, you know, skinning an animal and then picking the thing up and putting it on the back of your horse. Even the fact that, like, you can modify your ammo, but you have to do it one at a time. You know, press X to, like, cross your bullets and stuff.
Yeah, you see, a lot of people like that. I feel like it's just wasting my time.
Yeah, I know what you mean there, but
if I want to make 10 arrows, I'd like to select that I want to make 10 of them because I've got the kit. Get it over with. I don't want to sit there and watch him craft every single arrow individually. This isn't a Ray Mears documentary. This is a game where I get to shoot up to 60 members of a single gang in the face in one scene, and yet I've got to make arrows individually.
Yeah, I know. It is a bit crazy because they do go to all these lengths to sort of try and make things realistic. But then there are aspects of it that just completely are not.
I'm in the middle of a fight. Right, I must eat an entire pot of chewing tobacco to maintain realism.
It is a fucking video game. I think we need to keep that in mind, really.
Precisely. and that's where the whole balance comes in.
Yes.
If it's going to push you towards the realism, it kind of needs to constrain you on all sorts of things. It's that middle ground. So I'm enjoying lots of aspects of it. But where it gets praised for being really realistic, you overlook one side. And when it gets praised for being a video game, it's overlooking the other side. It's interesting what it makes you grind through or take really slowly, and what it just sticks within the standard video game. Oh, I'm in the middle of a gunfight. I'll take a magic healing tonic and suddenly I'm healthy. And yet... Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's almost like they want you to play this at the pace of a walking simulator. But the thing with walking simulators is that they're over in a couple of hours.
It's a riding simulator.
But this is like... I mean, the thing is, it even makes it feel a bit weird if you get into a sprint in the middle of town. Like, you sort of feel like you should be just moseying. There is when you get out in the woods. There is, like, you totally run around.
Have you been into one of the cities and had to do a chase scene when you're not allowed your horse and you're running, or what it calls running? And basically, it's just at 1.5 times walk speed, and you're pursuing this robber through the streets, basically an amble. The walking speed really pisses me right off.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You see, I feel like they just want you to soak it up, like. And I can sort of see where they're coming from, but I see where you're coming from too. But the thing is, I've kind of just accepted that I'm going to be playing this game for a very long time. You know, the other night I played it for an hour, and I got a mission done, and I didn't rush. Some shit happened along the way, and I kind of went with it. And then, you know, I got back into town, like I said, and parked my dude at the saloon, and I still felt satisfied with that.
Yeah, that's all right.
I've just had to kind of get my head around. I'm not going to be finishing this game anytime soon, so and that doesn't bother me because I'm enjoying it so far.
That's all right. It's a at your pace thing, isn't it?
It's literally that. Yeah. I mean, I'd say I'm 40 hours in now. At first, I'd get to a bit with a legendary animal area, and I would think, I must hunt this legendary animal. I got a couple of legendary animal skins. I took them to the trapper in Saint Denis, where apparently you can swap them for cool outfits, and yet the skins I had couldn't do anything. And then I died and lost the skin. It gets taken out of your inventory the moment you get killed, so you lose the opportunity, which is interesting, or at least as far as I can see you do. And then I suddenly realised, well, as long as I've got some meat, I don't need to mess about with hunting. There's nothing I can craft that actually gives me any noticeable value to the gameplay. So I've given up on the crafting, I've given up on the hunting, and that suddenly made me realise that I don't need to explore, and I've literally come to the point now, I'm in Act 4, and I'm just going for the main quests. I'm genuinely bored. I've kind of had enough now. I want to see the game through, because I'm enjoying the story. I enjoy the story, and we had a conversation offline about whether the missions were on rails. The world itself is open, and you can do what you want, go when you want, do a robbery when you want, but then a story will basically make you go, I have no choice but to do exactly what they're telling me. Go to point A, shoot these people. Go to point B, kill these people. You can decide whether your accomplice is going to play a drunken person or do this within this bank robbery. But it's really same end result, very little action. And yet, the stories are told magnificently. So I don't really have a major issue. But I'm no longer interested in the freedom of choice. I just want to hear the rest of the story. I'm enjoying that. And then I think I'm going to be done.
That's all right.
Yeah, so you're sort of so you're kind of done with the simulation and the open world grinding stuff, and you just want to do the but you think that the missions and the quests are worth seeing through.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of stuff in there. It's just all the horse riding in between. I find I'm starting to find grindy.
You've unlocked the fast travel stuff, right?
Yeah, I've not. Again, nothing explains itself, but can you fast travel back to your camp? I haven't worked out how to do that.
You can fast travel to somewhere, but you have to ride back.
So you get the fast travel aspects, but there's lots and lots of, oh, brilliant, I'm on one end of the map, so I've now got to ride my horse to a station and then get on a train, and my horse will follow that train,
which is
then
that's
go from
hilarious.
the station
I do
to
love
the camp.
that bit. That's just hilarious.
There's a lot of busy work in just getting back to get to the next mission, which again it's all okay. I'm ending up, there's a cinematic mode where you basically get on your horse, keep tapping X to keep the horse moving, hold down a button that puts it in cinematic mode, and it will just autopilot back. So for 5 minutes, your horse is just riding along, and I'll look at the news on my phone while I'm waiting for it to actually get there.
But for that real Wild West experience.
Absolutely. It is literally to the point where I'm just having to hold down a button and ignore the game while I wait for something to happen to get to the next bit so I can do the story. I'm finding that difficult.
Yeah, you do still have to have X held down, don't you, while you're doing the cinematic mode?
Exactly
that. Right?
Which is a really silly thing. I'm hoping Rockstar will get some of this feedback, introduce some patches. You know, if you put it in cinematic mode, just let you press a button to say ride.
Yeah, it should be like the taxis in GTA.
Yeah, there's no need.
I think they just want to keep you locked in there somehow.
Yeah.
That's easily a decision that was made, high up.
Yeah.
But I came a cropper of that cinematic mode a few times where I thought, I'll do this while I'm walking along this very, very narrow ravine or whatever.
Straight off the cliff.
Straight off the cliff a couple of times. Yeah.
We've all been there.
I do really like that though. It's sort of like, I feel like, when I first started playing it and that was introduced, I was like, they really want you to sort of direct this experience. At least it seemed that way at first, but a few hours in, you do start to sort of realise, you're playing a game now. But I mean, I think that's probably how I'll play it. Just mainly focus on the missions. That's what I've kind of been doing. But if I've been sort of like entertaining some of the more ambient stuff as I go. Just when I fancied doing that.
When there's you go past, there's a little event, someone calling out for help or something. Absolutely, you go and have a look. But it's, like I say, I'm just at the point, I've done loads and loads of those, and I'm just finding that the hunting and crafting has very little, actually doesn't seem to add anything in real terms.
Right, so it's just a bit of a time sink, and for a bit of an extra investment in the world, if you can be asked.
Also, the fishing. Okay, now this is going to sound extremely
Not
picky.
done the fishing yet.
Well, the fishing, okay. There's a lot of predators, water predators, pickerel, that sort of thing, which consistently are caught on the bread bait, and that infuriates me. Because you don't catch predators on vegetable-based baits. I'm sorry. If they took the worms, it'd be fine. Why do I keep catching fucking pickerel on bread? Alright? If heads should be rolling at Rockstar for this.
But that's certainly a hill you seem willing to die on.
I don't care if I'm standing on my own there. Someone's got to stand up for this stuff.
No, I think we'll stand with you, but we may not be with you.
Just several
in the
miles
pointing and
behind you.
laughing kind of way, yeah?
Yeah.
The moral support through mockery. Yep.
Is there anything
it's fair
else?
Enough, though. It's fair enough.
We seem to be slowly kind of moving into gripes and stuff. So is there anything else good that we want to mention?
Combat. What do we think of combat?
I really enjoy the combat.
Yeah, I'm not
finding-
a fan of... Go on.
I'm finding Deadeye much better than the first one.
Deadeye's
I really
good.
had a problem with Deadeye. Maybe I just wasn't used to the controller or something, but it's much better here. I like the horse-based combat, feels improved. The hunting when you're riding is great. And I haven't quite got the quick draw stuff yet, but I haven't really been in I don't think I've only been in like 2 or 3 situations where that mattered. Fluked the last one, got shot the first 2 times. And I'll do some more of that at some point.
Yeah. I would say from where I am so far, the quick draw is quite underused.
Okay, all right, that's interesting.
So I've not seen much more.
Yeah, I've only done it a couple of times.
And I don't want. I'm not going to get into the bad stuff yet, but I like the fact, and I don't remember if this was a Red Dead thing as well, but you don't have although your horse does, you don't have a bag of all my guns option. You've got to kind of prep your guns when you get off your horse and go somewhere and do things, and I like that.
It is good, except on a mission. It sometimes happens that it will just send you through, and you think, "Hang on, I would like to be able to pick up one of my rifle, please. You've sent me in here with my pea shooter, right?
Or pea shooters if you've got 2. Yeah.
Exactly, that pair of pea shooters. When quite frankly, my horse is over there, but you're not letting me do this because of these rails.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's
All that bit, where you come up against
there
the
aren't
bear and you've got a varmint rifle.
So far, at least for me, there haven't been a lot of rails like that, and I think maybe that's why they stand out. Because when it does happen, you're going, right, well, there's a mechanic that lets me choose, but I can't get to my gun. That's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
And that's all right. It's their choice to make that particular mission like that. I had one the other day where I really wanted a rifle, but I was stuck with my dual pistols, and that's all right. It can't be... They do have some creative... They need to have creative control, and I think they do. The missions are great. And it's really as open world as the game can be, and sandboxy, and you can kind of do what you want, outside the missions at least. It's okay if they set some things where they don't want you to just take the easy route and you've got to get up and close and personal a bit, and you've got to do the awkward dual-wield reload and stuff and bits. That's okay. That's part of buying that kind of product, I think.
Yeah.
They kind of did that in GTA 5 as well, which is certainly one of my favourite games. So
Yeah, I think that it harkens back to an old-fashioned way of Rockstar doing their thing, because they've always had that kind of open world, and now you're in the mission. And it's all right, it's all well and good if they're purposefully taking that option away from you for game balance.
Yeah.
It's another thing if they're taking that option away from you and just because, like, it's a design decision and... You know what I mean?
I think in many
that
ways
dissonance.
it's to tell the story. Like I say, I think my favourite thing about the game is the storytelling, which is why I'm finding the stuff outside of the story, I'm losing interest in. I'd rather just stick with the story, see it through. I don't think the open world stuff adds quite as much value. So I think that's my perspective on it. From the combat perspective, I think I'm with Ian. The Deadeye is good. The bit I'm not so keen on is... the rest of it, really. The gunplay itself is just a bit dry.
Yeah, it's not blown me away at all. See what I did there? But no, the thing that got me straight away though was when you mentioned about it being on rails. The one thing I will concede on that point is that I did feel like it wasn't so much as being on rails as being dragged along by whatever was going on in front of me.
Yeah.
And I can understand that because they want you to act like a cowboy would act. They don't want you letting your mate charge off while you loot every single corpse.
I think that's it. It's not an RPG. This is almost the point. It's not an RPG. You are playing this guy. You get a bit of choice in how he behaves, but a lot of me, I look at these open world games and I think RPG. I think of the progression trees and all that stuff. It's not got any of that. You know, you don't decide, you don't level up and then pick this skill route. You're just Arthur. And I think that's something that took me a while to get the hang of.
Yeah, there is some kind of stat stuff going on under the hood.
Oh,
like
the more you shoot, the more you kill people, the more Deadeye stuff you'll have. But you're right. There's no. I can now choose this perk because I'm level 5, and I'm going to choose to go down the stealth tree and not the gunslinger tree. It's just not there, and it's fine.
Well, it's not so much that it's not there. I think all options are always available, but it's mostly skill based. And also I think like certain items might give you a bonus to stealth. I don't know about that for sure, but
none of it's visible or explicit though.
No, it's not like there's not like numeric values as such. It's just like here's an approach and here's another approach, you know. So yeah, but it's not like numeralized.
I mean, the only stat boosting stuff I'm seeing is you can get a saddle which will allow your horse's stamina to regenerate a bit more. At the end of the day, you'll have a gun, it'll have a power rating. That's just a comparison to other guns. You won't get a hat that gives you +7 to accuracy, and you won't get a pair of chaps that you can pop on your legs and suddenly your toughness goes up. It's just clothes and stuff. You don't get to say, I'm now a level 10 cowboy. I'm going to choose my super Deadeye skill. You're just Arthur Morgan. You're going through. As you run, you'll get slightly better at running. You'll have more stamina. As you punch people, you'll get more health. It gradually builds up. But that's all. It's keeping it simple. I like that.
That's all from San Andreas, pretty much. I remember in GTA San Andreas, you'd go to the gym to work out and get pumped. But they threw that all out of the GTA 4 onwards, I think. And I don't think it was in GTA 5.
I remember it in Morrowind, in the simplest, well, in a far more complex way. In the Elder Scrolls game, every time you practice and you do something, your ability in it gets a bit better. It's that principle, but you've just got the 3 cores of your Deadeye, your health, and your stamina. But as you do more stamina improving stuff, your stamina gets better. That's fine, that's dandy. I say it's a nice, simple system. The only trouble is it's really quite hard to understand what's going on with your stamina, how your Deadeye is actually boosting. Now and again, I get this little stat comes up at the side saying, Deadeye looking meter plus, so I've got Deadeye experience, but I don't really know what I'm doing to get it, just killing people.
I think you're just using it, and the more you use it, the more it levels up.
Actually, I think the more you kill outside of Deadeye, the more Deadeye experience you get.
Oh,
but
really?
Again, it's not explicit. It seems to me I see it more when I'm not using it.
Yeah, I mean, I found like because the horse is another one, you ride the horse a lot, then it unlocks these abilities on that horse.
Yeah.
So and I think the idea of that is that, quite apart from just keeping the horse clean and happy, it wants you to bond with that horse, and so it's a major bummer when it dies.
Yeah. Christ, when it accidentally catches fire because you ride the wrong crossroads. You mean that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Jesus.
I think if we're going to start mentioning that, then maybe we need to start talking about the bad. Ding.
The bad. May I start with my anecdote about the flaming horse?
Yeah, go on then.
Every big game like this is going to have bugs, right? But this was a particularly disturbing one for me because I'd had bum horse since the start. A first mission where you go to the stables, you buy your horse, you're given the option to name your horse. Bum horse was the only possible option in my world. So,
fair enough.
I trained bum horse for hours and hours. We bonded, we were close, top bonding level, good gear, good stamina. Bum horse was my faithful companion. I could call him from miles away. And then one evening, we're riding along, and there was a bit of road that I saw which had an interesting glow to it. Nothing sinister, but I thought, let's go and have a look at that. It might be a hidden little treat. Rode into the hidden glow. My horse caught fire and died. Now, the thing when your horse catches fire and died in Red Dead is you don't have the ability to save and reload a save. You just have a dead horse. And you're in the middle of nowhere, and to then own another horse, you need to pick up that saddle and carry it to another horse. Now, what it kindly does is it marks on the map where your saddle is. Because quite frankly, when you're carrying a saddle, you walk really slowly. Particularly when you've got a legendary moose pelt on your now incinerated horse as well. So I thought, right, I'll go back to camp. I'm not too far away. Get another horse and come back. Now, for some reason, got back to the camp and my spare horse, no longer there because my horse had died. So suddenly I've gone from 2 horses, don't ask why, but basically you can have your horse and it also goes, you've got a temporary horse. And both will turn up when you call them in certain places. But no, when my main horse died, my temporary horse fucked off. So I had to fast travel to some stables, buy a new horse, ride back to where my previous horse was cremated to get the saddle. And interestingly, this had become basically a horse morgue. There were lots of people riding along the roads, and as their horses rode through this patch, they caught fire. Carriages caught fire, people screaming, dying. It was pretty cool. I kind of enjoyed that, I must admit. But they killed Bum Horse, and I couldn't get it back, and it wasn't my fault. So I'm now on Hoofy.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, everyone seems to have their horse death story, and despite it being traumatic, is memorable.
You won't remember your first horse death.
Yeah, no, I haven't had it happen yet. I guess it's only a matter of time. But
I read about that fiery road, and I've just been avoiding it. So it only happened in one place.
Yeah,
I'm wherever my route says go down the fiery road of death, I just get off that road.
Yeah,
Get off the road.
Get off the path.
In daylight, there's a little scorched patch, but at night time it positively glows, and I'm assuming they'll patch it out shortly, probably, unless they've got plans. I could just see GTA Online them just basically hosting, I don't know, marshmallow roasts there or something.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit of
Sorry, Red Dead Online, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of Red Dead Online that's got through the cracks, maybe. Whoops, committed it to the wrong repository or something.
That's it.
Yeah. That I read about that because you sent that video about that. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then I Googled it, and apparently it is a known issue. So I'm not even anywhere near that yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I'll be avoiding it for the plague for now.
But who else has accidentally punched their horse in the face whilst trying to talk to it?
No.
Really?
Sorry, why are you trying to talk to your horse?
Sorry, okay, so you use on the PlayStation controls, left 2 will either lock onto a character or a horse.
Yeah.
If you haven't got your weapon drawn, it will basically lock onto it, so you then select whether you pat the horse,
interact menu.
Grab it. Yeah, it's an interact. But if you've got a weapon drawn, it's left 2 basically is point your weapon or aim.
Yeah.
But if you're not holding a gun and you're basically just bare-fisted, it is punch.
Okay.
And so I basically spent a long time bonding with the horse, walked up to it, went to stroke it, accidentally punched it in the face. And you know, if you punch a horse in the face in Red Dead, he would instantly turn around and kick you with both hooves and you fly. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, nice. I'll give that a go. That sounds all right.
Yeah. It's interesting, but basically the controls are very context dependent. But to me, I've gotten used to them now, but they are not intuitive, and I think they could definitely be improved. The selection wheels are ridiculous. The controls are they're 10 years out of date, I would say. Yeah,
I mean, I completely agree with that. I think there is an option. Matt was telling me there's an option somewhere where you can switch it to standard FPS controls, but to be honest, by the time I get used to that again, it's all going to be like learning it all again. But yeah, it's definitely not standard controls that I'm used to. And it took some getting used to. I think straight away, one of the first things I did when I got to the first town was I accidentally shot from the hip, and then this cart and the 4 horses that were attached to it just basically charged at me.
The accidental shots, yep.
Yeah, and I went flying. I was like, what the fuck just happened? It's fucking... Yeah, you can easily end up in a lot of trouble in this game, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you guys figured out how to get your hat back? You can pick up... You lose your hat, you go to
it's one of the radio menus.
Yeah.
It's on the horse.
It took me an awfully long time to find that. Like how to change... I knew I could change the clothes on the horse. Couldn't figure out how to change them.
Yeah. There is.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet because it's just been hot everywhere. So
Well, that's it. That's the other thing. It's as far as I'm concerned. I'm in Act 4. I've not needed to act. I've gone to cold weather clothes once when I went exploring. There's a lot of stuff they've built in that just isn't that necessary yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels kind of like
Just the word yet. It'll be interesting to see whether they've got lots of plans for, I don't know, the online.
Yeah, the online stuff maybe.
All of that stuff. There's a lot of mechanics which I'm saying at the moment aren't that useful. It would be interesting to understand what their long-term vision is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might all become more apparent, like, the further we get in it. I mean, I found in Spider-Man all the gadgets were a bit unnecessary until I got to some of the more challenging areas later on and I needed them all.
Yeah.
So it may all become apparent, but right now I think, they know, maybe they know what they're doing and, like, they've got the bigger picture, the developers, and so, when you come to it at the beginning, it's a lot to take in. I completely forget about some of the systems because if I'm only playing for an hour or so, I don't even have a chance to get there. So it might be a week before I do hunting again. I've not really done any of it.
Yeah. I must admit, some of the animal challenges, or some of the, you need to go and find 10 squirrel skins, and I cannot be asked to go squirrel hunting. It's a massive fucking ball ache. 10 perfect squirrel skins. And it's just all that stuff. I just kind of think, okay, that will give certain blanks, it will improve a thing in my camp. So that my camp, now some of the cowboys have a slightly nicer chair to sit on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pointless stuff in there, and maybe it's back to the argument of, well, it's realism or it's just things to do and people enjoy these slow-paced tasks, but I'm quite happy that the game's not penalising me for not being interested in it, though. So that's another way to look.
I think honestly, it's because they built such a massive world, they just wanted to fill it with things to do. And none of it's mandatory,
You know what? Literally, you could just go straight through all the stories, not worry about any of those shit, and have a lovely time.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't gripe that I don't find that stuff interesting because there's nothing making me do it, and there's a big old interesting plot.
Yeah, exactly. On the same token, people who really are into the whole Wild West thing get to play like Cowboy Simulator 2018, and literally just shoot arrows at birds.
Something for everyone.
My horse accidentally ran over a rabbit, and a little challenge thing came up. But I'm not going to go around.
You don't need
I'm not going to do that.
You will just naturally accidentally run over a minimum of 5 rabbits.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Or a deer.
But some of the challenges, like I've got to shoot 5 birds from the back of a moving train. I can't be arsed.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah,
but I like that approach. I don't want to. I don't ever feel the need to. I know you like platinuming games.
Oh, I like platinuming games.
Yeah,
but only when it's not a ridiculous plat. There are certain games I can see the value in completing, and each of these things you get a feeling of achievement from. Red Dead. Yeah, I can just imagine the hundreds and hundreds of hours behind a platinum.
Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't done that on Spider-Man. I haven't really platinumed any game, but to be honest, I could go back and finish off Spider-Man because the amount of time I think it would take. I'm already like at 84-85%, so I don't think it would take much to actually finish that off.
The last two, when you suddenly realise that you're at 90, 97, 98% trophies, and the last one involves just another 200 hours.
Yeah.
There's an old developer adage that's called the 90-90 rule. Do you know this one, Rob?
No.
I know the 80-20, but... 90%.
90% of the work is done in 90% of the time, and the last 10% of the work is done in the other 90% of the time.
I see.
Yeah. Which is entirely correct.
Yeah. That's true. Okay, so, I mean, we've kind of talked about a lot of bad stuff.
I think it's easier to whine about it. The game has got, like I say, storytelling tick. Wonderfully storytelling, voice acting is beautiful. If you want a game where you could just actually really enjoy a story, you're not in a rush and you don't mind a gentle pace to it, it's absolutely fantastic. And if you want a game that will keep you diverted, brilliant. But controls are horrible. Some of the routes it forces you, there's a lot of discrepancies and niggles and irritations. But I would say my only real issue with it is some of the time I have to waste just getting from point to point, and it feels wasted to me.
Yeah, so pacing and controls, definitely issues there. And I feel like they're symptoms of a game that's just taken an awfully long time to make, because it's things that they've probably got used to and that have fallen by the wayside as far as modern gaming goes, and evolved, and they haven't evolved with it.
But it's interesting. So when you first started playing the game and, you know, chatting on our WhatsApp group, you used words like masterpiece. I would say it's pretty. I would say story's great, and I would say it's a good game. Would you still stand behind the word masterpiece?
I think it is.
Yeah, like I say, it's
and I'm not rushing over playing it, but I think it's a game that others should and could, and I hopefully would aspire to be.
There are aspects of the game which I think are outstanding, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as a perfect game. Well, apart from the subjectivity of that statement.
There's a whole debate there.
Well, I mean, it's subjective if one man's perfect game is another man's humble bundle.
Exactly. I remember Ghostbusters on the Spectrum.
Well, obviously, but that was a perfect game. So there's always an exception to the rule. But I'm struggling with the value of masterpiece or not. If I think it's a masterpiece, I'm right. If you don't think it's a masterpiece, you're right. I mean, that's the madness of the thing that we do, isn't it?
It's entirely subjective.
Yeah.
I think it's a great game. I've no regrets about buying it. It's rare that I buy a game immediately upon release. But it was that or Fallout 76, and quite frankly, I had to go with the odds.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I complete the main quest, I'll still get a pretty decent trade-in value on the fucker.
Yes.
And I've no interest in the online version.
That's fair enough.
Fair enough. No, I mean, for me, unless the story, really picks up, it probably won't be Game of the Year for me. I've had much more fun with Spider-Man and God of War, to be honest.
Fair enough.
As much as I'm enjoying the immersion and all the attention to detail and stuff that of Red Dead, I just don't think it's as fun as those other games, nor does it look as good as God of War. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a eye candy whore, but I am a bit.
We know you are and have been forever.
But it's so subjective. I think, but all three games, they are masterpieces. All three of them. I will stay with that.
Yeah.
Because but it's really just personal preference at this point, because
yes, it's subjectivity, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as great as the sky and the hills and mountains in Red Dead look, I prefer hanging out in Asgard. You know, I think that looks cooler. Yeah. You know, that's just somewhere I would rather.
And New York looks good in Spidey.
Yeah,
so yeah,
absolutely, and it plays like a dream. It's kinetic. The way the talk on the controller as you swing through the city is just so immersive. So many nice little touches. But yeah, I don't want to turn this into a Game of the Year discussion. That's coming later in a few weeks. But
I'd say Fallout 76 to be out before we can even discuss contenders. Clearly,
no, we don't.
Yeah, I've heard some things about the beta of that.
I've heard too many things.
I'll stick to what
I'll stick to
what I thought. When it comes out?
No, the second beta after they deleted the first one.
Oh yeah. And they've only got a week before it comes out.
Yeah. No FFV. Comms are always on. Yeah, just no.
Yeah, I've heard you hear people banging on while you're creating a character or something.
And they've said because we want the world to be alive.
Alive with 12-year-old Americans. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about.
Sukabliat. All the oh, fuck off, Jesus.
I've heard about ganking and stuff as well. Like it happens. Just idiots coming and
Well, it's fair
stabbing
enough. If people are going to buy it, who are we to stop them? We don't have to.
Anyway, I didn't want to. I wanted to focus on Red Dead. So
I have no uglies for Red Dead. There's some quirks and some foibles and some hilarities, and I get that the road thing is annoying. The fiery road is annoying, but I can't see any ugly in it yet.
I think the ugly we were going to kind of focus on to finish up was the working practices and stuff like that,
which is an interesting one. Because I don't think there's any indication whatsoever that this doesn't occur in any other place. I think what was quite interesting was with the amount of attention on Red Dead coming out, and then the wonderful statement from, was it Hauser? What's his name?
I think it's Dan
Hauser, something like that, saying, "Oh yeah, we're doing 100-hour weeks, all of that stuff." I thought what was quite interesting was
he needs to go to PR school, basically, saying shit like that.
Yeah.
In the world we live in today, people are just looking for anything to tear a company like that down.
But there was a very interesting article from Eurogamer, which can be taken with a non-specified amount of salt, depending on your perspective entirely.
A mountain, I think it normally is from Euroglamour, yeah.
But they certainly... I think what was quite interesting was talk of some of the culture within inside Rockstar, which suggested that compared to a lot of the studios, the crunch they experienced through pure amount of time and some of the staff conditions were suboptimal. What's difficult about that? You don't seem convinced, Ian.
I'm not going to get involved in this. I think it's I just find it all a bit. It's like the Daily Mail. All of this is a bit Daily Mail for me.
Okay.
Listener in the Americas, the Daily Mail is like the National Enquirer, where, worse than the National Enquirer, really. This isn't toxic necessarily, but it's just we've just spent nearly 50 minutes saying a lot of good things about the game, and. Any conversation apart from what we've seen in the game ourselves is based on stuff that we can't guarantee is fact, and that's my concern with it. That's the Daily Mailness of it. Having a disgruntled employee or somebody or anybody, damn it, my boss. I frequently say to people, "Yeah, we did this many hours on this," and sometimes it's absolutely accurate to the hour, and sometimes it's we worked really hard, and I'm rounding it up for whatever reason. We don't know the facts for this. We don't know what's PR. We don't know what's vengeance or revenge or pettiness, and it's inside baseball really, and I think I'm not going to interrupt anymore, but I would prefer my gaming.
Entirely valid points.
I think my involvement in gaming and celebrating gaming in this particular environment, perhaps, it's about celebrating gaming, which is what did I like, what didn't I like, what shall I play next.
No, I think that's an entirely valid viewpoint, and as you point out entirely correctly, what we have from the Eurogamer article and the other sides is generally from entirely anonymous sources.
Yeah.
Comments on working practices. Now, what's difficult from the other side is it's very hard to quantify, to be able to speak out in the industry if there are issues.
Yeah,
but you're right, you can't prove it either way.
There have been very many public situations. There have been things in the UK, near London, where I think the wife of a games developer in one of the cities around London spoke very strongly about the hours that he'd had to work, and that was confirmed. And I think it was EA or something, one of the ones.
Yeah.
But that was a thing. What I'm querying is the journalism of games journalism. And I know that's a risky thing to say on a podcast, which is we are podcasters, but we don't do this for a living. We get enough to buy a house and a Rolls from this podcast, and that's all right. In GTA,
just about getting by.
But
when you say rolls, you mean a bacon roll, right?
I think if these journalists, and I do put them in quotes sometimes, want to publish stories like that, they need to do an investigation into what it actually means. and not just be told by somebody on Twitter or Facebook or a forum somewhere and treat that like actual news. I can absolutely tell you that crunch exists in a variety of industries, not just the gaming one.
Undoubtedly.
And it does. I can categorically state that. But there needs to be some meat to the bones to the discussion, and not just people going, oh, somebody said this, I wonder if it means this, and blah, and stuff and things. Because it's just pub talk, and it's alongside articles where you're commenting on the greatness and the subjective badness of games, and for me, it just kind of muddies the waters. Either be a journalist outlook like The Guardian or the New York Times or something where you're actually doing research and investigation and delivering a story that has some substance, or just, oh, nothing's really released today, what can we, Red Dead's out, is there anything in there we can get some clickbait from? And that all of it has felt like that. For a guy who said, I don't want to talk about this, I will now stop talking about this. Thank you for your time.
And I think that's entirely valid stuff. The only thing I would look to add to that is, in the context of the debate that has happened around Red Dead, you're right. I saw a lot of rhetoric, internet-based, of course, saying, I don't understand how people can dare to buy that game when this stuff has clearly, provenly happened.
Yeah.
And I've also seen the converse side, which is, I don't care about the conditions, I don't care about that side of things, we should only care about the games. I think realistically, if there's factual proof, that's one thing, and actually your argument has, I think, entirely has merit. I think what you're saying is there doesn't appear to be any specific evidence, it's hearsay.
All I'm saying is we don't know.
Yeah,
so
exactly
let's
that.
treat it like we don't know. If there is a problem, then that's the thing. But people won't stop buying Red Dead 2 because there is a problem. So stop presenting it as a thing that's just kind of riding on the tails of the perceived success of the game. By going for the lowest hanging fruit of somebody saying, oh, I didn't have a good time with it. All right, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry you didn't have a good time. And, I wish you good luck in the next thing that you do. But there is always a choice for this crap. And that's the thing that tends to get missed with that.
I think there's
the
also
evil
the
corporations. Yeah.
One other way of looking at it is by buying the game, you're kind of you're increasing the likelihood that those people that worked so hard on the game will get their bonuses.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember is these are first world staff, so they may be working long hours and social hours. But if you look at similar exposés on the Apple side, for example, around the conditions at Foxconn and the effective paid slavery, the being locked into compounds, the suicide rates, all of that stuff, what we're seeing is people having to work really long weeks. People who are generally in a position to quit that job, go and do something else with a great reputation elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. That was what I thought was like, I mean, if you're working for Rockstar, the chances are that you're a fairly competent employee and a very highly skilled employee.
But that's speculation as well. You don't know that. You're looking at the brand and
Contract
going,
tester.
good people must work for that. And so by the same, if you apply that rule to everything, everybody who works in an Apple store, whatever they're called, the applets or the Appletinis, whatever it is.
Geniuses.
Well, whatever. But they must be amazing people because look what Jobs did.
They are geniuses.
Yeah, because their title says they are. So, and
sorry.
you've done the same there with the Rockstar employees. I don't know anybody who works for Rockstar, and I'm not trying to dismiss or create a disservice for the work they have really genuinely done.
Yeah.
But you've speculated there that everybody who works there must be an experienced developer. We don't know. We just don't know. And this is
I'm speculating on the speculation. I'm just joining in the party.
Okay, I think
I'm just putting a positive spin on it. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So, to conclude,
I think it's fair game.
Yeah.
To conclude, gentlemen, I think we are saying we've got two saying masterpiece in opinion, one saying good game. So I'd say positive.
Yep.
We've got 7 out of 10.
It's got some challenges.
7 out of 10, masterpiece.
Well, it's probably a 9.5 for me, I think.
No, I'd probably go 8, high 8s. I think.
Yeah,
high 8. What? So 8.
Yeah,
high 8 is 9, isn't it? Because of rounding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on then. 9. Yeah, 9 out of 10. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two 9s and an 8 from me then.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah,
That's a good game.
Off to meta fucking critic we go to our subjective views to the marketplace of I wonder what score this game has and not what it will do for me as a person.
Indeedy. Yeah.
Although,
Go on.
Cool,
Sorry, Rob.
yeah.
Although
I was just going to say, like, maybe Will may have like a more valid opinion, somewhat based on the amount of hours he's played.
And the
of it.
fact I'm a generally better person.
yes, and while I would certainly agree that he's just said he's a better person, all of our opinions are valid as well because it is subjective. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the game has been out for a specified amount of time,
Yeah.
and so our opinions may be based on the amount of time.
I will say that I'm very jealous that Will has had the time to do that. I've wanted to play
Likewise.
more, but I've wanted to do other things as well, you know. And I think that's quite indicative about, as good as the game is, I haven't just locked myself in a room. Well, I did for 5 days, but I haven't. I'm not saying that's what you've done, Will, but I'm doing other stuff with my time because it's not grabbing me as much as I hoped it would. So maybe it's the low 9s for me.
Yeah, I wanted to give it a punt. And I've given it a good go, but I've not actually picked it up for a week.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I've not played it
And
since
I know when
Sunday,
I get back
actually.
to it, I'm going straight onto the story and I'm seeing it through. It kept me for a while. It frustrated me unbelievably for the first 2 hours. Painfully slow,
Yeah.
trudging through snow, couple of gunfights, but just dull.
Yeah.
I played it 5 times, the intro, so you have no sympathy from me.
Whoa.
Because I thought I'd got to the save point already, and then when I actually got to where I could see it was the save point, the game crashed.
Oh.
So I had to do it for time number 5. It was like playing fucking Borderlands is what it was like. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
god, I've not had any crashes. No, I know what you mean. Like, it's a game that you do kind of like lose yourself in initially, but then I got to a point.
I
Likewise,
didn't
I
lose
took a long
myself
weekend.
in, I
But
lost my fucking mind.
oh right, so you just lost patience with it.
Through the fucking snow for 2 fucking hours.
No, what I'm trying to get at is I'm really glad I took that long weekend to kind of spend a good sort of 10, 12 hours with it. So just so that I could get past all that, get into the game, and then find somewhere naturally to kind of just pause it for what ended up turning into most of a week. Because I'm trying to finish off Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And then it's
So-
when you get back to it and you can't remember the controls because you've been playing Tomb Raider and you're doomed. You're going to punch your horse.
I feared that, but it was not a problem. I was okay. I think I had played it enough by that point that I knew what I was doing a bit more than what I did before.
Marvellous.
I think that's just because the Tomb Raider controls are just so slick and
They're
intuitive.
standard. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the standard controls for that kind of game.
Yeah, that's how you control games,
Yeah.
you know. But I think I made this comment on the Facebook group was it felt like playing Mario compared to the pained realism and pacing of Red Dead.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair
It
enough.
was like, oh, bouncy all the way. Oh, a puzzle. Let's do the puzzle. You know, it was just so
It's a me,
video
love.
gamey. I wasn't worried about like the weather and shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, shall we call it there then?
Yes, if we can. I'm going to go and not play Red Dead 2 then. I might have a massive poo.
I'm going to not play it.
A Red Dead 2.
A Red Dead poo. Well, go and see the doctor, kids, if that happens.
And on that bombshell.
Indeed. On that plop shell.
Thanks for listening to the Not Playing Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Watching Podcast, where we talk about movies and TV, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co. talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, bye!
There's a stripper with no boots.